In a quiet corner of the galaxy, far from trade routes and empire borders, a small green world named Valerian circled a blue-white star. It was home to the Valari, a peaceful and soft-spoken species with thin limbs, silver skin, and glowing eyes. They had no army, no weapons, no warships. They had no need for them, until now. The Valari were farmers, scientists, and thinkers. They lived in tall crystal cities surrounded by green forests and floating gardens. Their lives were calm, quiet, safe. But peace is a gift the galaxy does not give for free. Late one night, under 3 moons, the sky tore open. Without warning, a fleet of black raider ships dropped out of the stars. No one knew who they were. No one knew what they wanted. The Valari had no enemies. But the raiders didn't come to talk. They came to take. The first city fell in hours. Fires raged across the crystal towers. Screams echoed in the night as the raiders marched through the streets, capturing, destroying, laughing. There was no mercy. The Valari tried to run, tried to hide, but the raiders hunted them like animals. In a hidden bunker deep below the mountains, a young Valari tech worker named Seren sent a message, a single signal of hope. To anyone hearing. "This," Seren whispered, hands shaking as she activated the old beacon. "We are under attack. We cannot fight them. We need help. Please, someone, save us." The signal blinked once, twice, and vanished into the void. For days, there was no reply. The Valari listened to the skies. Nothing came. Only the cold silence of space. "Maybe. No one's out there," said Elder Varel, their leader. His voice trembled. "Maybe we are truly alone." But Seren refused to give up. Every hour she repeated the message. She didn't know where the signal would go. Valerian was too far from major systems. No one had visited them in over 50 years. And yet, far away, beyond the known edge of the galaxy, something did hear the signal. On a silent metal station orbiting a black hole, an ancient human probe, old, almost forgotten, came to life. It had no name. No crew, only machines, cold and watchful. Then the signal reached its sensors. The probe processed it, translated it, and sent it straight to Earth's Deathworlder command. On Earth, buried deep beneath the Arctic ice, General Maeve Rennick, Supreme Commander of Earth's Outer Fleet, leaned over the glowing screen. Her face was cold, but her eyes burned with fire. "Read that again," she said. The AI repeated Serene's voice. "We are under attack. We need help. Please. Someone." Rennick didn't blink. Her officers waited in silence. "Who are they?" she asked. "Unknown species," said her second in command. "No weapons, no defenses, easy prey." "Who attacked them?" "Unknown fleet. No known transponders. Likely raiders." Rennick stood slowly. "And no one else has responded?" "No, ma'am." The room went quiet. Then, the general spoke 5 words that would change the galaxy. "Prep the fleet, we go now." Across human space, the Deathworlder fleet came alive. Ships the size of cities rumbled in their docks. Soldiers in black armor gathered in silent rows. Drones zipped through the air, loading weapons. Artificial minds plotted courses through wormholes. The humans did not send a rescue team. They sent a storm. From Mars, Titan, Europa, and the Kuiper Belt, warships launched. One by one they vanished into the stars. Silent, fast, deadly. They had one goal. Find the ones who cried for help. Find the ones who hurt them. Burn the rest. On Valerian, hope had died. The signal had been sent days ago. Still no answer. The raiders had taken 3 cities. The skies burned. The Valari were tired, hungry, lost. Seren sat alone in the bunker, staring at the dark screen. Tears rolled down her silver cheeks. "No one's coming," she whispered. Then, the screen blinked. "Message, signal received, help inbound. Ita, 6 hours." Seren gasped. "It worked," she whispered. Someone heard us. She ran through the bunker, shouting with joy. But Elder Varel frowned. Who heard us? And what kind of help is coming? 6 hours later, the Valari looked up. Massive black ships fell from the sky. Not sleek, not elegant. These were monsters made of steel, fire, and thunder. They looked like nothing the Valari had ever seen. Each ship blocked out the sun. Then came the drop pods. Thousands of them. They slammed into the ground like meteorites. The Valari backed away, afraid, confused. Then the pods opened. Out stepped tall beings covered in armor, eyes hidden behind glowing visors, weapons strapped to their backs. They did not speak. They scanned the ruins, walked through the burning cities, recorded the dead, and then they vanished into the forests. What are they doing? Seren asked. A voice crackled from a nearby translator bot. They hurt you. Now we hurt them. That night, the raiders camped deep in the woods, laughing over stolen supplies. Suddenly the trees exploded. Black shadows moved between the flames. Fast. Silent. Gunfire echoed through the dark. Screams followed. One raider ran, another disappeared. A third was dragged into the trees by something unseen. The Deathworlders had arrived, and they didn't come to rescue. They came to end it. By morning, the forest was quiet. Not a single raider survived. The Valari stood outside their cities, watching the smoke rise. One human stepped out of the trees, his armor scratched, weapon smoking. He looked at Seren. Signal received, he said. You are not alone anymore. The sky was still dark when the strange ships appeared in the horizon. The Valari watched in silence as the giant black shapes moved closer. These were not ships made for peaceful travel. Their surfaces were hard and cold, like giant stones, with lights blinking in strange patterns. The Valari had never seen anything like this before. The humans who stepped out of the ships were tall and strong. Their armor was heavy and dark, covering every part of their bodies. Their faces were hidden behind smooth helmets that reflected the light. They did not speak at first. They only looked at the ruins of the cities, the broken buildings, and the frightened people. Seren stood at the edge of the crowd, her heart pounding. She had waited for help for so long, but this was not what she had imagined. The humans moved quietly and carefully. They did not rush to comfort the Valari or try to calm them. Instead, they seemed to be searching, watching every shadow, every corner, every broken piece of glass. The leader of the humans stepped forward. His voice was calm but strong when he finally spoke through a translator device. We are here because you called for help. We will stop those who made this happen. The Valari looked at each other, hope mixing with fear. No one knew what would come next. That night, the Valari could not sleep. They heard sounds from the forest, strange noises like soft footsteps and quiet whispers. The humans had moved into the woods, disappearing among the trees. No one knew what they were doing, but the Valari felt a change in the air. The next morning, the Valari found signs that the humans had been there. Broken branches, strange marks in the dirt, and some equipment left behind. But most importantly, the raiders were no longer camping nearby. The Valari could only guess what the humans had done, but it was clear the raiders had been driven away. Seren wanted to speak to the humans, to understand what they planned next. She found one of the soldiers near the edge of the village. Why did you come like this? She asked, her voice small but steady. We asked for help, but you came as if ready for battle. The soldier looked at her through the helmet's dark visor. We did not come to fight you, he said. We came to protect you, to stop those who would harm you again. But why so quiet? Why not tell us what you plan? Seren pressed. He paused a moment, then replied, because some things are better seen than spoken. You will understand. Soon enough. The Valari watched as the humans trained quietly, preparing for what might come next. The soldiers taught the Valari how to use simple defenses, how to watch the skies, and how to prepare their homes for possible dangers. The humans did not ask for anything in return, but their presence was a powerful message. The Valari were no longer alone. Days passed. The raiders did not return, but new dangers appeared. Strange ships appeared in the far distance. The Valari could see their shadows on the horizon, and fear returned to their hearts. But this time they were not alone to face the threat. The humans stood ready, strong and silent. Together, they prepared for the unknown, knowing that the calm before the storm was only the beginning. The days grew longer, but peace remained fragile. The Valari still watched the horizon with anxious eyes. Every small sound from the forests or sky made their hearts beat faster. They had learned that help had come, but danger had not gone away. The humans were different from anyone the Valari had ever seen. They moved with purpose and calm. Their eyes, visible through the thin slits of their helmets, showed no fear or doubt. Every morning, they gathered in small groups, practicing skills that the Valari could only guess at. The sound of their training filled the air, soft clinks of metal, careful steps on the earth, and low voices speaking in a language foreign but steady. Seren watched them carefully. She wanted to learn, to understand their strength and the silence that followed them like a shadow. One day she approached the human commander, a tall figure with a steady voice and kind eyes. "Why do you stay so quiet?" she asked. "You came because we asked for help, but now you seem to prepare for something greater. What is it?" The commander smiled faintly. "Because the quiet before the storm is where strength grows. We must be ready for what is coming, even if we do not yet see it clearly." Serene nodded slowly, though her heart was heavy with questions. She returned to the village to share the words, but the Valari were restless. They did not understand this kind of waiting. They had never faced an enemy so unknown and so near. At night, Seren often sat beneath the glowing moons, staring at the stars. She wondered about the humans and their world. What made them so strong? What made them answer a cry from a distant planet with such power and silence? She felt both fear and hope. One evening, the horizon lit up with a distant glow. Not the peaceful stars, but a strange shimmer that moved closer, faster than anything the Valari had seen before. The humans gathered immediately, their movements smooth and calm, but the tension was clear. The Valari's hearts pounded. This was no peaceful visit. This was something else, something waiting just beyond the edge of understanding. The humans prepared their defenses quietly, setting strange devices along the forest edges, placing watchers in the trees and readying their equipment. Seren stood beside the commander, watching the stars. "Will they come again?" she asked softly. "They will," he said simply, "but we will be ready." The night stretched long and heavy. The forest was filled with silence, broken only by distant whispers of wind and the quiet hum of human machines. Suddenly a signal blinked from the watchers, lights flashing in coded patterns. The humans moved swiftly but carefully. They did not shout or rush. They acted with calm precision. The Valari held their breath as the horizon filled with shapes, ships like shadows crossing the stars. The unknown fleet had returned. But this time, the humans stood ready, their strength quiet but fierce. The Valari could see the difference in their eyes, the promise that they would protect those who called for help. And in that moment, Seren understood. The humans were not just rescuers. They were guardians. The days after the last sighting felt heavy with expectation. The Valari lived in quiet tension, every sound from the trees and sky making them turn quickly to watch. The humans moved calmly but with purpose, preparing quietly, alongside them. Their presence was strong, a steady shield against the unknown. Seren spent much of her time with the humans, learning from them and watching how they worked. They taught the Valari to be patient and watchful, to build small defenses that did not harm but protected. The Valari helped build devices to detect movement in the forests and across the skies. They learned to listen, not just with their ears but with their whole being. One evening, the sky was painted with soft colors from the setting twin suns. The village gathered in the main square, a place where the Valari had shared stories for generations. This time the stories were about hope and strength. Elder Varel spoke quietly but with confidence. "We called for help," he said, "and help came. Not as we expected, but as we needed." Seren looked at the humans standing nearby. They were silent, but their eyes held a deep kindness. No words were needed. Suddenly the calm was broken by a soft humming sound from the forest. Edge. The watchers raised their devices and lights blinked in patterns, an alert. The humans moved with quiet speed. Serene followed, heart pounding. What would they find? Would the unknown return? At the forest line, the humans paused and waited. The silence stretched long. Then, from the shadows, came a slow movement. Not ships, not machines, but figures on foot. The Valari gasped. The raiders? No, something different. A small group of travelers stepped into the clearing. They were not the raiders the Valari feared. Their clothes were worn but simple, and their faces showed weariness rather than anger. The humans stepped forward, hands raised in peace. The travelers nodded, cautious but open. It was clear these travelers had fled from the raiders too. They spoke a strange language, but the humans' translators worked quickly. The travelers told stories of loss and fear, but also of hope, of finding safety. The Valari listened closely, their fear softening. These new arrivals were survivors, not enemies. The humans made a decision. They would protect these travelers, help them rebuild. The Valari would open their homes. Together they would stand stronger. Days passed with new activity. The Valari and humans worked side by side, building shelters, sharing food, and teaching each other skills. The humans showed how to create barriers that did not harm but warned of danger. The Valari shared their knowledge of the forests and plants. The village grew stronger, not just in walls, but in spirit. Seren felt a new warmth. Inside her, a quiet fire of hope. The help they received was more than rescue. It was a promise that even in the darkest times, kindness and strength could grow together. One night, as the twin moons rose, Seren stood with the human commander. The village below was quiet, peaceful. "We are not just saved," she said softly. "We are changed." He nodded. "You will never be alone again." The stars twinkled above, silent witnesses to a new beginning. The days turned into weeks. The quiet planet of Valerian began to change. What was once a place of fear and destruction now buzzed with cautious hope. The Valari worked alongside, the humans and the new travelers, learning and sharing. Each day brought new challenges but also new chances. Seren found herself in the middle of it all. She moved from group to group, listening to stories, helping to build and learning new ways to protect her people. The humans taught the Valari to watch not just the sky, but the signals of the forest, the faint sounds and small movements that might mean danger was near. It was a lesson in patience and attention, a new way of seeing the world. But the calm was not without tension. The unknown raiders had not been seen for some time, but the Valari knew they could return. The humans spoke little of it, but their eyes always searched the horizon. One morning the sun rose pink and soft. Seren was at the edge of the forest, helping set up new devices designed to listen and watch for any movement. Suddenly the ground beneath her feet trembled, not from the earth itself, but from a deep vibration in the air. She looked up, heart racing. From the sky came a slow, silent shadow. It was a ship unlike any the Valari or even the humans had seen before. Its shape was smooth and long, like a river flowing through the stars. It did not carry the harsh lights of war, but there was something strange about its quiet presence. The humans gathered quickly but without panic. The commander spoke softly to the Valari. "This is not the raiders, but it is not a friend either." Seren's breath caught. Who were these new visitors? Why had they come? And what did they want? The ship landed gently on a clearing far from the village. A door opened slowly, revealing figures dressed in smooth clothes that shimmered like the stars themselves. They moved with grace, their faces calm and curious. The humans and Valari waited, tense but hopeful. The visitors raised their hands in greeting, speaking words that the translators tried to catch. "We come from far away," one of them said. "We have heard the cries across the stars." The Valari looked at each other. Could these be allies, or something else? The visitors asked many questions about the planet, the Valari, and the humans. They spoke of peace and balance in the galaxy, of a great web connecting all life. They warned that the raiders were only a small part of a larger darkness growing in the shadows. Seren listened closely, feeling a mix of hope and fear. The story they told was new and strange, but it made sense. The raiders were not the only threat. Something bigger was coming. The humans met with the visitors quietly, discussing plans that Seren could only guess at. The Valari felt the weight of the moment, the knowledge that their quiet world was about to change again. That night, Seren stood beneath the stars, the visitors' words echoing in her mind. She thought of the journey that had begun with a simple signal, a call for help that had brought storms and silence, fear and hope. Now the future was uncertain, but one thing was clear: Valerian was no longer alone. It was part of something greater, something vast and mysterious. And whatever came, next they would face it together. The air was heavy with quiet energy. The planet Valerian seemed to hold its breath, waiting. After the arrival of the shimmering visitors, a new feeling settled over the village. One of change, of challenge, and of possibility. Seren stood at the edge of the settlement, looking out toward the horizon where the twin suns touched the sky. She thought back to the first signal, the desperate call for help that had sent ripples across the stars. So much had changed since then. The Valari were no longer just survivors, they had become part of a greater story. The visitors had stayed, sharing their knowledge and wisdom. They taught the Valari and humans about balance, about the delicate threads that held the galaxy together. They showed how every action could ripple far beyond what was seen, and how peace could be built not just with strength, but with understanding. Yet beneath the calm, there was an urgency. The visitors spoke, often of a shadow, an unseen force that sought to disturb the harmony of many worlds. It was a threat unlike any before, slow-moving but steady, growing in silence. The humans and Valari worked together, preparing for what might come. They built new tools and defenses, not for battle but for protection and survival. They trained to listen and watch, to understand signs and signals, and to move with care and wisdom. One evening, as the twin moons rose and bathed the land in silver light, Seren stood with the human commander and the visitors' leader. The stars above seemed to shimmer with quiet power. "We have learned much," the commander said, "but the journey is far from over." The visitor nodded. "The darkness will come, but so will the light. It is our choice which will grow stronger." Seren looked around at the faces gathered. Humans, Valari, travelers, and visitors. Each one carried hope and fear, strength and questions. The night was filled with soft sounds, the gentle wind, the rustle of leaves, and the quiet voices sharing plans and stories. It was a moment of calm before the next step, a step into the unknown. As dawn approached, Seren felt a steady calm inside her. She knew the path ahead would be difficult, but also full of promise. The planet that once called out for help was now a place of courage and unity, and no matter what shadows might come, they would face them not alone but together.